Sheanon, welcome to the Cuala Hot Seat, where we're going to be talking to different members about their Cuala story, how they got started and where they're going. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Just to introduce myself, I'm John Sheanon. My official role is President of Cuala GA Club, a role which I am very honoured to have. And I'm delighted to talk to you and hopefully maybe share some insights into my days in Cuala from the early days right up to now and for the future.
Yeah, amazing. Well, listen, tell us about when you got started in Cuala. How did you get started? What age were you? Give us a little bit of insight onto that.
Okay. Actually, I was born in the USA and my parents came back to Ireland in 1963 and we moved straight into Crossgate Park in Dún Laoghaire, and I started in Dún Laoghaire CBS in September 1963. And straight away, I started playing with the school, or playing on second class, and then that moved on to playing with Cuala, because Cuala and Dún Laoghaire CBS were really one of the same thing. The Christian brothers in the school, they looked after a lot of the teams in Cuala. But Cuala was like a fledgling club then, and it was only getting started. But there was, a lot of young guys, young kids in the area started playing then. So that's when I started playing. There was a competition that used to be played then. It was called the Cuala League, and it was for all schools, generally schools and clubs that were from, say, Dún Laoghaire out to Bray, and even Greystone. So there was Dún Laoghaire, there was CBS Dún Laoghaire, and there was Oatlands, and there was Bray schools, there was Greystone schools. So that's when we started playing little competitions. Then we played in the primary schools competitions, which were they were great because there was the Frank Cahill Cup, the Herald Cup. We got to a few semi-finals and a final. Unfortunately, we're beaten in them all. But that's how I started playing, and then moved on through the ranks in Cuala, right through under 13, 14, 15, both hurling and football, all the way up to minor. And they were the early days. They were, Cuala was just beginning to make a name for itself then in South Dublin. Like, there was only Kimmercut Crokes in that area and Cuala in this area. So we had one pitch, I think, in Sallynoggin. Anybody that goes by, it's where St. Joseph's play now. It was one adult pitch. We used to have a pitch in Dunedin, another small pitch, but that's the amount of ground and amount of pitches we had in those days. But so that was the start of it. And I think that was really the start of Cuala around then, starting in the early 1960s. A lot of men were involved in the Cuala that their names would be very familiar to a lot of older people, and family names: Tom Holden, Mick Dunphy, my own father, Jim Riley, Joe Canny, a few guards, Pete Dunn. They all were very involved in both the hurling and football. And that's how it started. Like any club, it starts with those people giving up their time and taking teams out right throughout the different age groups.
Amazing. And so you have been a Cuala player since probably as you can remember, and I'd love to hear about, did you prefer the hurling or football? How did you get on during your playing days? Any highlights?
Yeah, well, as we started playing, played football and hurling. Now, Cuala probably had a lot of, it was a strong hurling club then, but there was a lot of good football had started making a move back in the mid-60s, and we started at adult level. So when I would have come out of juvenile level about at a minor level in about 1973, and we had a very good minor football and hurling team then. Now, previous to that, Cuala actually had won 3 minor championships, or 3 under 15 championships, a minor championship, and under 16 championship. So we had really, really done very well, and that was the basis for the success of our adult teams later on in hurling. In football, we had a very good minor team. We were beaten in the minor final, a minor semi-final in 1973. But then a lot of the players started playing junior football. So then the adult team started moving forward. My highlight was when with a lot of the guys that played in the minor team, we got to an under 21 championship final in 1976. And we were playing the famous St. Pat's Training College, who had players from all over the country. They were the hottest of hot favourites. And after a replay, we beat them by 6 points. It was especially exciting for us. My father was the manager with Paul Keogh, and all the guys that played in that team were guys that I had grown up with, and many of them are still my friends now. No, only 2 of that team are not with us anymore. The great Mick Holden, who passed away some 10, 12 years ago, and Colin Mullen. And that was probably still one of the highlights of my playing career, as to win a Dublin under-21 championship. If that's all I ever won, I would have been just delighted with that. So, but at that time, the Cuala was growing. It was growing. More and more players were coming into the club. We started winning at senior level, so we got a senior hurling team, and we started really challenging at adult level. And that's the way the club started progressing right through. We started, the football was going quite well. We won an intermediate championship, got to play senior. So that's, once you get to the 2 senior football and senior hurling, you really have reached, you're at the level you want to be, and then you just add more teams to it. And that's the way, nothing special, just a lot of hard work by a lot of people. But yeah, they were just very, very enjoyable times. It was my life then. Probably still is my life, but it really was my life then growing up,
Amazing. And there's some huge achievements there, and I think, like you said, it's the real start of the kind of dominance of Cuala. Started
right.
all those years ago, and it was the success of the teams, but also the commitment of the coaches and the players from back then, which has led to what is the huge success which Cuala is now. But
yeah,
the Sheanon name is the legendary name in Cuala, and you have a lot of different kids playing different sports growing up. What was it like, going from a player yourself to being, on the sideline supporting? How was that transition?
Well, the just to add a little bit more history, then back in the in the 90s, the one probably fault was we had some very successful adult teams, and we probably didn't have enough mentors, and everybody seemed to follow. All the effort was put into these teams, the adult teams winning senior championships, that we probably took our eye off the ball for a good few number of years, looking after our juvenile teams. And the whole success of any club is you start at the bottom and you keep turning out your under 6s and under 7s, which is what we're doing now so successfully. So then we had a bit of a lull period back in the late 90s, mid 90s, probably for 5 or 6 years. We were really badly struggling at football, and hurling we had gone back down the divisions. And it's only then that a lot of people, say, like my brother Mikey, he had got married, his kids were just getting to 6, 7, 8 years old, and he started back in with a couple of other people, building it up again and building the thing up. And the only difference this time was that we made sure there was someone coming behind us. So he took a team the following year, John Tracy, Shay Hayes, Eddie Goff, they took a team the following year, myself, Declan Cronin. So we just made sure every single year there was guys coming through, there was more kids coming through. We didn't take our eye off the ball. If we had success with one team, well and good, let's move on. And that is the success. That was the great success of where we stand now, because we built it on a really solid base. Now then, of course, we were fortunate enough to be able to live in the area, and we had a family, and I married Derval, and her father was a great Cuala man, Fergus O'Tierney. So there was probably, the O'Callaghan's lived down the road, Morris, he married Derval's sister. Then there was the Carchute, the Chutes, the Tracys, the Hayes, all those names came back and they all got involved again. And it was just terrific to see our kids and their cousins playing week in, week out. So you just had such a huge interest in it. And we still are a lot of families that are the old families still playing with their children and their grandchildren, Now I have my granddaughter and grandson are back playing on the under 6s, and that's a lot of people are the same. So it's the recipe for success. Just keep passing it on down through the years.
And I guess it's, at the core, no matter how big Cuala gets, is that at the core, it's the communities, it's the families, it's the, continuating. And that is the goal at the moment, is, as always, it's like, making sure we keep players involved, particularly that, 12, 13 age group where a lot of girls drop off, keeping players involved, keeping coaching staff. And it's just, I think that everyone will agree that the success of the club is down to this long-term plan of keeping players involved, keeping community, making, no matter how big it gets, that at the heart of it, it is still a very community-focused club. And I mean, you played a huge role in that, becoming juvenile chairman at some point as well.
Yeah, then when I got involved with the kids, I became juvenile chairman, and that was my goal, was not to follow the good team, like just make sure we went out in the area and said, if you want to play GAA, this is the club for you. and we went to the schools and we made sure that everybody knew this is the GA area. At the time when I got involved, Kilmacud Crokes were down and they were taking players from our area, and that used to drive me absolutely scatty, that there was kids living down in Avondale Road not far away that were going up to Kilmacud Crokes. I said, this is not the GA. The GA is you get your players from your area or your schools. We have got to bring back our area into Cuala. And so we made sure we got a lot of people in with the same mindset, you know, and we went to the schools. Around shortly after that, Colman O'Driscoll was principal and got principalship in Scullercon. He's a true blue Cuala man and Cuala supporter, and he did an awful lot of work in that area. So an awful lot of our players now have come through the Colman O'Driscoll Scullercon school and then went on to Collarstone, and we really developed Collarstone as a good, you know, a good grounding board for Cuala players. So but we just tried to set up, when I was in there, set up the juvenile committee, and then we started building different other committees. We set up a minor committee after that, and that's how it worked out, and it has really worked out well. We've had some great chairmen and chairpersons following on from them right through to the present day. I've been up sometimes. I've been up there. Went up there last Saturday up to the academy, and I just don't know anybody. I don't. It's very hard. There's so many people up there. You just realise that we really have achieved success in developing Cuala as the GA stronghold of this area when you see so many people up there. And I'll just touch on one other thing. The ladies football has been huge for Cuala. We probably gain more out of it than most clubs because a lot of parents here stay very involved, and they're delighted to bring their boys and their girls down to Cuala and get involved. And it's just been the makings of Cuala.
It's amazing to see, and even I was up training the under 13 or 14 girls last Wednesday in Thomastown, and the hour before and the hour of it, it's just amazing to see boys and girls young enough and transitioning to secondary school. They're at like 30, 40 players. Like, it's just such a big deal.
Well, actually, I think I was up there last Wednesday. I went up there as well, and I just walked around. I counted 100 girls playing on the main pitch in Thomastown. 100 girls, and there were about 2 different age groups, and it was phenomenal.
It's amazing. And honestly, because like, you know, I just remember that transition, and there was nowhere near the amount of players. We had one team as a 97.
That's right.
And we lost a lot, and particularly the Camogie and the football. I would have been a minor for 3 years. You know, you would have jumped up sooner because there wasn't enough on the team. And now you just look at 40 girls turning up for a training.
That's right. Yes.
It's just amazing. But you know, then I think was it in 2017 you got the ultimate honor, if I'm correct, in being awarded the president of the Cuala, not the GA, of Cuala. How was that? How was that transition? That's amazing.
I was proposed by the committee, and I must say I was absolutely shocked to be nominated. I was so honoured that the members or that the committee would feel that I was I was in that position to take on that role, and I'm thrilled with it. And I just, you know, it's a role which I take very serious. I just try and maybe give example, and I try and pass on the ethos that Cuala is for me to the members, and just try and represent Cuala in all areas, at matches, at meetings, and any kind of functions. Just represent the best. And I just like to talk about Cuala to people, to tell them the good things about it, to tell them how positive it is to be a member of Cuala, and that they're not making any mistake in getting involved in Cuala. So I'm just thrilled, and I don't know how long more I'll stick at it, but I do enjoy the role.
Yeah.
And it's a great honor for me.
Yeah, well, you know, I was looking it up, and it's you were awarded in recognition of a lifetime contribution and service to the club. So that is a huge honor, and like you said there,
I think I'm only the 4th president. The first president actually was the Parish Priest Society Noggin. At the time, I think it was common to nominate somebody in the clergy as a president of a GA club. And following on from that, Tom Holden, who was one of the founding members of the club and were well known by so many people, and Jimmy Doyle followed on And to follow on in the footsteps of those men was a great honor for me.
It's amazing. And I think, we have been through, as a world, but in a country and a community in Cuala, a very challenging year and a bit. And, adults are back training next Monday. I'm personally very excited. Can't wait to get out of the 4th or 5th football team in Meadowvale on Monday. But, what are you looking forward to most when we get back to a little bit of normality in the next few weeks?
Yeah, well, for me personally, if you all the guidebooks and the self-help books and all these books will always say to you that, for your good health, and you eat well and you take exercise. But so many of them say, stay in touch and stay in touch with people. And so many of them say, stay in touch with young people. And that is my mantra, is to stay in touch, because I just get such fun and such enjoyment out of being with anybody, with people on sidelines, but especially young people. And, as you know, Rory is, he was on the 21s and that, and he's been here. And for the last couple of years, this seems to be the stopping off house here after training. And that's one of the things I miss. 8 or 9 guys sitting around the table, having the chat, having the cup of tea. It's so important. I miss it so much. I know they miss it, but I've missed it. And I can't wait to get back. I'll go to any match. I'll go to training just to watch them play and just to be there involved. And it is, you can see how much they need it. I'm involved with the 5th football team, and I sent out a thing yesterday to see, we're going to back next train. I said, lads, we're back training. Will you let me know how many of you guys are interested in playing this year? So I think it was 27 on last year's list, and within 20 minutes, 22 out of the 23 had come back with a positive. And the other guy, one other said, no, he was working away from Dublin. So that just shows you how much they want to get back in. And it's a great endorsement for what we're doing in the club.
It's amazing. And I think, one thing that I think we're all going to take away from the pandemic is that community is just absolutely everything. And no matter how big the club gets or how you grow out of it or you go back into it, Cuala will always welcome you back and they'll want you there. And, it's a community aspect. And I think, as president, what are the goals? What's your goal for the next year when it comes to the club? Is just back playing outside? Yeah,
well, it's back playing. But one of the things that I think that we're lacking and that we really could do with is that we could do with there are plans, and people are probably aware of the plans to redevelop our centre in Dalkey, and that has been going on under the guidance of Cormac Tierney after the last 3 or 4 years, and he's made great progress in that role in the development. So, and I think people have seen the plans for it. Now, I'm so excited about it because it will be the community centre for the club, and it will have gym rooms, it will have halls, it will have coffee places, it's just going to transform our club, and it'll be the place where, even though we only have one pitch there, it'll be where we will come and meet, where we'll have our cups of coffee, where young people can meet, where they can train. And it'll be just it'll just be a hive of activity. And I think that's the one thing we need now, is the central location. Unfortunately, a lot of clubs throughout the country have all their facilities in one area. We haven't got that, and never will. We have pitches around the borough of Dunleary, and we're always on the lookout for more, and probably will get 1 or 2 more. But to have a central hub in the town of Dalkey, where people know that's where I'm going to go, where I can have a cup of coffee, I can do my gym training, there's a meeting on there, there's a party on somewhere else there. That's what I'm really looking forward to. So just to see that continue on, and to get the public support behind that, and get the Cuala support behind it, is one of my goals. And for people, obviously it's going to cost a lot of money, but I think people are going to see the benefit of it. I'm very confident that the people will row in behind that and support it. So I just really want to see the club continuing, developing their players as best they can, success on the field as much as you can. It's not the be all and end all. As from years and years, like I've won maybe 2 things in my life, but I have got an enormous amount of enjoyment out of just playing and winning a first round game against Kilmacud or a match against Ballyboden. It doesn't always have to be the day that you win the cup. You might win 10 of your 11 matches of the year, and that's for me a success. So, like, all my friends, my families, they're all in Cuala. I've got so much out of it. I'm one of the lucky ones,
Amazing. And I think, you know, if you were to leave the Kula community with like one piece of wisdom or wise words or, you know, wish for the next year, what would you like to say to them?
Um, Let me think what I'd like to say to them. I'd say just be positive, come out, do as much as you can for your children, support the teams, support each other, always be positive, be fair, play fair, uh, assist wherever you can, and just don't think maybe about your own team or your own child. Go and support other teams and just wear the cooler colours. Be seen in the borough of Dunleary with the red and white. It is just a wonderful feeling going down anywhere around the People's Park on a Saturday morning or Sunday, and the girls, the little boys, the girls with the hurling and the helmets are coming down afterwards. Makes me very proud, very, very proud.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's so clear how much you love Kula and are so passionate about its development and the future of it. And I think, you know, for us all listening, it's like, you know, we have come through such a challenging year and a bit, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's actually coming much sooner than we think. And I think we all just, you know, stick together, keep playing, get involved, and just enjoy it for what it is. And
What
you
it
know,
is.
there's a lot. Yeah.
The team games are just wonderful. You know, you're with 15, 18, 20 people on the sideline, and they support you. And, you know, in the hard times, whenever they come, and they always come for everybody, you'll always find that those people that stood beside you on a football pitch, supported you, dug you out when you were in a hole, they're the ones that will be there for you always. It's invaluable. No money can buy that in a community, and no, you know, and the support of your friends that you get in. And I think we're kind of, GA clubs have it in spades more than I'm not knocking other sporting organisations, but GA clubs have it in spades.
Yeah, well there you go. Thank you so much, John Sheanon, for chatting to me today and for all the history, which I've learned so much from. And I guess it just goes to show that Cuala wasn't built in 10 years, but in the last 60. And there's a long way for us to go, but we have come so far. And I think we're only as strong as everyone involved. So thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you.
Talk to you
Delighted to be here.